Slowly but surely, the world is making sense again. And now we must wonder what is happening. What are we looking at? Who is really in charge? What is keeping you alive? Move on! Good morning. It is the 10th of February 2024. And in this video I would like to talk about transparency. And I would like to call this video Transparency in a Nutshell. In a nutshell, which means that you pack it tightly and you try to break it down to the very essence of the meaning. So you take the concept of transparency and then you stuff it, you condense it, because it's a vast topic, you can talk about it for hours. And now, of course, the question is, are we talking here about a peanut-sized nut with a more like brittle shell? Or are we talking about a walnut-sized nut with a more hard shell, but that is still possible to break without smashing it? Like if you have strength in your fingers, you can like break it like this, or between your palms. Yeah. Or are we talking about a hazelnut sized nut that is very hard and also very hard to break? Now, transparency is about showing what you got. I have already shown what I got. Yeah, I have already shown. This is the fridge I got from my father. These are magnets I already had as a child. This, I think, was a present. It reminds me. This I did with like painting after colors at the age of 16 or so. Now, how transparent must I be? For instance, must I tell you that this carpet was taken from the attic because I moved to a new house and I saw that nobody knew that this carpet was still there, and so I just claimed it? I mean, I feel very bad about this. I feel like I'm a thief of some sort, but it was there. The old owner died, and now I have just this carpet in here, and I am about to receive guests. And now I'm dealing with this fear. Should this be allowed to be open? You know, it's not for the room in itself that I'm worried about it. It's because of this carpet. So it's a real challenge, because now people will come. Oh, that's a nice carpet. Where did you get that one from? What am I going to say? What am I supposed to say? Well, I just like to free myself, and I'm just going to say, I found it. It's like, what? Yeah, I found it. Where did you find it? Doesn't matter, I found it. And if they don't believe it, because it's true, I found it. I was walking around in this house, and then I found it, and I thought, nobody knows this exists. And then I took the opportunity and I said, okay, let's take it. So if somebody asks now, what am I going to say? I found it on the attic. Because actually the real reason why I want to keep this to myself is not so much because I'm afraid of the punishment. I'm afraid that it will be taken away from me. And then also in a spiritual sense, because if I know something in myself, can others extract it from me? By seeking my mind with their minds, it's possible. Now, if I share this with other people, is this like going to like a domino, row of dominoes, and then it's like, bam, back in my face. You should have kept this to yourself. But I just hate keeping secrets. I mean, so what is transparency? How transparent ought I to be? Should I now send you a screenshot of my bank account and show you that I believe, at this stage, I believe it's empty? Maybe in the meantime, I have received lots of donations or whatever, because people say, I love his art, or hundreds of thousands of people have started buying my books. I don't know, because there's no internet here. So how transparent can I really be? And why do people want other people to be transparent? I think that's the real question that we're dealing with here. Because if you want the state to be transparent, then you're a fool. Because they're already transparent. All you gotta do is look at what you're seeing. And then if there's something that you don't like, then you have to make a choice. And then you say, if I'm looking at Amazon and I know what they're doing, they're delivering parcels all across the globe. And if I buy something, I can purchase it with Prime and pay no fees for delivery. But I also know that delivery is in itself bad for the environment because it produces all kinds of toxic materials that then people have to breathe because I want to sit at home and receive a parcel. Yes. So what you think transparency is just your own ignorance. Because you were sitting at home and you were ordering things and somebody comes and says, hey, did you know that Amazon is really bad for the environment and that they treat people like slaves? And then you're like, what? I thought they were really good. And so your demand for transparency is just your own shame for being too stupid and too gullible and for having allowed this situation to occur where you're in a position where you are no longer like in the powerful position because you thought, I'm doing good. I'm ordering with Amazon. And nobody comes and tells you, yeah, but ordering with them is bad because of these things. Plus, they trash a lot of the items that are being sent back because it's cheaper to trash them than to actually check if they're okay. And then, So, of course, this is like mass production, man. They've got no time because they're stealing it from other people so that they can become powerful. And that's what this is then. So, transparency is nothing. To me, it doesn't exist. So how transparent do you want me to be? What is inside of here? So what you want to know in terms of transparency is, what's that guy's intention? Why is he creating content? Well, if you would look at me and the history of my life or read the About section on my website, you would know what I'm about. But because you see my YouTube page and you're already so afraid and you say, oh, what is this? He's talking about fear. You're like, goodbye, my friend. So what transparency is just your own responsibility to look at the things that you're spending time with. So you spend time with people, let's say, that sit around smoking. Would you like your child to be there? Your inner child, would you like it to be with these people that sit around smoking and make sexually and inappropriate jokes? That use forceful language? Where do you think, this kind of aggressive violence starts? Well, it starts with the way that you communicate. And if there's a lot of repressed anger, then it's going to show in facial features, in the way that you communicate, in the way you treat yourself. So smoking is a clear sign, and obesity is a clear sign of repressed anger and emotions. And then this stuffing of yourself is trying to get rid of feelings, but these feelings are there. So there's no need for what you demand when you say, I demand transparency, because it already is transparent if I start looking at it. And so if I look at this and I say, hey, who's this guy? Well, I have a feeling I know this guy. I think his name is Christopher. And he started making art because there were so many emotions in him that he wanted to do something with this. And so he tried to find ways to express these emotions, and he found that art is probably the most adequate way to do so. Now, if you want me to tell you everything I know about myself, then, take a seat, because this is going to take hours. I have talked for hours in my podcast, and I've only scratched the surface of what I know. So I still keep talking, and I still keep giving, and I still keep asking myself what I'm going to do next. But until I've done it, I don't know. So I did not know that I'm going to record this. All I knew was today I'm going to wake up and something's going to happen. But now I still have time, because they're only going to come at 2, and I've already done what I wanted to do before people would arrive. So this is going to be my first yoga workshop with people that I know. It's my family. And did I know that I would keep posting on YouTube after having pre-recorded the entire year already? No, I did not know this. Maybe I did know it, but the truth was buried so deep down in myself that I first had to, work off other tasks that came before that, and then it's like, oh damn, now I have to post again. And then I just have to listen to the feeling and act upon it. So if I have a bad feeling of ordering on the internet, like buying dog food, I have a bad feeling about having a dog, because I just think I have no time for having a dog. And then I think, oh, but other people, it's so nice, you've got a dog and it spends time with you. Yeah, but if I have a dog, it's like a replacement for, hey, I actually wanted to be with my wife. And then every time I want to be with my wife, it's like I have to go with a dog. It's like, fucking hell, I've got no time for dogs, man. Because I want to spend time with my wife. And that's then my choice, the choice that I make. Because I've actually looked for one, and I believe I found her. And I just said to myself, that's her then. That's gotta be her. That's gotta be her, because she's the best I found. And so I just stuck with it. And I said, you know what? If I'll never see her again, then that's that. If the law of attraction is real, and she feels the same way that I feel, and I keep working towards being together, then I may assume that she does the same. Because there's a certain point in your life where you say, now I've got to choose, I've tested enough flowers, and now I'm really dirty and sick because of all the sex that I had. Now I've got to really choose. Do I want to have fun, or do I want to build a real life and start growing as a man? And so if you want me to be transparent, then I say, I am already transparent. It's just that in order to get to the root of what's causing your demand for transparency, for instance, you have to chip away lots of layers of truth. That's like the veils of reality. When we talk about Maya, then you see the world that you see now. Like there's trees, there's these plants and stuff. But the truth is, there's always a layer underneath. So I'm in this room, and this room is part of a building, and this building is like in a network of houses or something. But on the large scheme, this is also a representation of myself. So I feel like if I want to feel good with myself, I also have to feel good in my surroundings, which means if I hate things in my apartment, I have to start changing them. And so for me also transparency is, this is all open, but this is closed, okay? You know, it's all open, you know, it's like all open, you can see there's nothing hidden. Okay, you can go now like, what is he hiding between his socks? That's his underwear. What is he hiding? He's hiding something. I know he's hiding something. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? What's behind this? This is probably a really dirty, dark stain. It's like, nope, it's just plain wall, my friend. But I bought this at my first attempt of being a father when I got involved with a woman that was already pregnant, until I realized this could never work for me because I always felt rejected by her and she would have never accepted me as the father. So she would have always dumped it on me that it was not my child. And I just said, you know what, cheers. Because I could actually do it. Because I was following truth, and the truth was, hey, I'm not the father. But I did go through the experience, let's just call it like this, of being there when the child was delivered. So I gave the stability. And then 2 months later, I felt like I had to leave, and so I did. And then I jumped into all kinds of other experiences, and I met people, and I thought we're friends now. What's between this? Please show me. There's nothing, man. There's just nothing. It's like, what is he hiding? What is he hiding? He cannot be like this. What fell there? Was it a secret hash stash? Is he still taking drugs? Yeah, coffee is a drug, a psychedelic. Sugar is a drug, but I've reduced that to basically never. Until an opportunity arises where I feel like, okay, now I could once. You know, anything is a drug. People can be drugs. A guru is like a drug. But also what I have to show you is that if I walk around in the city and this is actually for carrying children in Africa. Yeah. Safrika is the brand. And so I put it there now because it's being pushed further into the distance. But this is also a symbol for me. We should carry children and not smash them to bits, okay? So we have to learn to be in the center at all times. So now I feel good in here. It's nice and clean and smooth. Now I'm about to receive guests, which is strange because that's basically almost the first time. I don't even know who's coming. Maybe it's just gonna be one. Okay? So I've already shown you, this is my new table. It's just very simple. Just took these old banana crates and put these things on there. If you want to, you can sit there and then drink a tea. Yeah, I still have to do these dishes. I made some food, that's gonna be my secret. Made some tea, bathroom, still have to do the dishes. Yes, I do them in there. This is where I bathe, This is my irrigator for when I feel like I have to flush my colon, but I'm just working on diet. Yes, I do collect water. So if I do this, then it's gonna go in there and then I can flush the toilet with it. Okay. So sometimes I have to do certain things. This was basically supposed to be thrown away. My neighbors saved it, and now it's here. This is the same. I'm experimenting with compost. This was also supposed to be thrown away. but I keep them as a reminder, and maybe I'm gonna do something with it. I could make like, I'm secretly working on a thing for on top of there. Okay, transparency, I do not use soap. I wash myself with water. I never brush my teeth. So I reduced sugar, the amount of sugar that I eat. I adjusted my diet so that I could also rejuvenate and heal my teeth because of all the sugar that you've been eating. You've just been whitewashing it by brushing your teeth and going to the dentist. I simply said, I want to have strong teeth. And once I started to stop brushing my teeth and stop eating sugar so much, I realized that my teeth, and also working on myself, my teeth became better. They started to heal. And the way I realized it was that I saw that suddenly I could bite into cold things without pain again. So I cannot say, to me, brushing teeth is a waste of time and it's something I can save on. And if dentists try to scare me, then I say, I know how to work with fear. So what's transparency? Transparency is the wish, the longing for truth, but nobody can give that to you. If I were to come to you and tell you, hey, you should collect the cobwebs in your apartment because, it's better for energy flow. You have to keep it clean. And then you say, yeah, what do you know? You see? So transparency is the demand for truth, but truth is only something you can find yourself. So you can look at the things in your life and how you feel about them, and then from your perspective, that's going to be truth. For me, that's truth because I know how energy works, and I have learned a lot about energy, and that goes into topics like shamanism, just energy in general, and then realizing, well, what do cobwebs stand for? It's like trapping things. It's like thoughts, memories, ideas, emotions. So you got to take care of these things and then take them off. And then, it's free again. And then something else can be built. So sometimes I have to clean. So yesterday, I cleaned the whole apartment because I went through a whole series of emotional experiences and just stuff. And then I realized, okay, now I have to cleanse everything, clean everything. So I cleaned all the corners, I dusted off everything. I took a wet cloth, wiped the handles, everything I've touched, all the surfaces. And then I dusted up my carpet, I hang it out of the windows, shake it. This one, the one you could say I stole, didn't steal it. It was just there and I took it. So to me, it was a spiritual gift. So I brushed it off. Because I don't like vacuum cleaners. They make noise and they're traps for old energy. So I brushed it off with a brush thing. Dusted this one out. Put this there, dusted out. Cleaned all of this. And there you go, right? It's like, oh wow. So it's responsibility that you're lacking. Self-responsibility. If you have been using services without looking at what they really do, then that's your own fault. And that's what I think. So you got to take responsibility. If you demand transparency, then how transparent are you? Because what you probably want, you're just pointing at someone else. You should have been transparent. No, you should have done your homework, my friend. You should have done your homework, my friend. And now it's your shit that's on the plate here. There's no more demanding of transparency. That's you who's got to do his homework. It's you who's gotta do what he's gotta do. It's you who has to look inside of himself and figure out why he's so irritated. Because to me, if I look at these services, it's already so clear, it's already so plain, it's already out in the open what these people do, and you've been giving the money anyway. And now you feel cheated because it's your life's energy, because you work in exchange for money, so your time goes into money, and then you sit at home and you watch movies via streaming services, such as maybe Netflix. And then you feel cheated because, oh, I wanted to have a different life. Yeah, but that's the life you have now. And why? Because of your own ignorance. And so that's just something you gotta work with. So if you demand transparency, then you gotta give that to yourself and just turn yourself inside out. Look on the inside, see what's reflected to you on the outside or whatever, and then just start working with that. If you see dirt, clean it. That's the simplest advice anyone can give you. If you see dirt, clean it. If you see dirt and you start hating Amazon, yes, clean yourself, man. Really clean yourself. What you then should do is just work with these emotions of hate and see what this really is. Because it's just a projection. They exist anyway. All you can do is make a choice for yourself and stop buying with them. And then you can just also find smaller shops. I usually buy with other shops. But I also do still order things on the internet, only I have reduced it to a bare minimum. So if I feel like now I gotta work with a book, then I'm gonna order it. So I started working with The Viking Spirit from Daniel McCoy, but I bought it secondhand. It's bad for the author, but good for me. And good for the book that already existed, because now it's got a new owner. And that's how I feel like. So transparency, I think I'm probably one of the most transparent people. And that means you have an open heart and almost like basically an open mind. But what it also means is that if you walk around in a city and you've got an open heart, you feel so vulnerable because you're so transparent that you almost feel like, you're gonna get shot all the time. That's how I walk around. I'm very transparent. I say how I feel about things. I say how I feel about certain treatments. I say how I feel about maybe like vaccinations in some way. I say how I feel about the things that I feel about in a certain way. And I've done so in my books, and I have done so in my podcast. And what I feel is a lot of fear of being punished for that. But the question is why? Because until now, nothing has ever happened. And if I should stop, then I would never know. And so the question is, why are you angry at other people? Because you saw where they were. And I have the same problem. I often get angry at other people because I feel like they've been lying to me. But in a way, it is true. Sometimes people have, I feel, deceived me. But I have allowed them to deceive me. And then the question is always, why did they feel like they needed to deceive me? Because I probably deceived myself. I was going to them, well, I wanted something else. I was going to men that were like friends. Well, I actually wanted to be more with women or with a wife. And that's what I have started to see for myself. And so I just got to see what's going to happen in my life. So I just don't know, okay? I just don't know. And so how transparent should I be for you to be satisfied? Because there are things that I just do not know. And I cannot claim to know them simply because it will show itself with time. Time will pass, things will happen, some things will come and then others will disappear. And all I know, I gotta be true to the love that I felt and that inspired me to become this guy. because this woman that I fell in love with, no matter what she thinks of me, is still in my heart, and I still love her. And so I say, I'm just going to keep doing this because of the way that I felt when I was with her. And then I can only repeat myself always again to myself that maybe then I will be a symbol of brahmacharya and just never have sex again, because then it is up to this woman to give it to me. And that's then a whole different concept, because most men think they can just take sex by forcing themselves onto women. But I have worked with my feminine side and with my masculine side, and I found balance, and then I realized, why do I need anything from a woman? If anything, she would want to give it to me. So I don't have to go to clubs and find women that are drunk and then use them and then throw them away. I don't have to do anything phony or fishy. Like if a woman manages to get to me or that one, but I also cannot be like phony about this. You know, there's still this feeling inside of me that I really would like to have sex. Only I haven't seen anyone else that I could imagine ever doing this with. And it would just have to happen by itself. So I will never claim that I know that she's it. And why is that? Because she also has to show it to me. And I think that's what I feel. I deserve a woman that wants to be with me. But also, should be want to be with her. And that's then what I feel transparency is about. I'm still working on my yoga. Vrishikasana is certainly my favorite form. I'm still working on my handstands, holding it. Still doing my planks. Yesterday I watched Sin City and drank 4 beer. And I felt fine. And at some stage I went to sleep, and then I woke up prior to the alarm, and then I started to clean this. There's no radiator on here, but I actually feel okay. I'm about to do the dishes. And what else am I supposed to say? This is my life. It's an experience. I have shared a lot of it. I keep other people out of this because I feel like I know how to deal with this, all the attention, because I also know how to not let it get to my head. And I feel like there may be other people that also guide me in this and tell me, hey, keep it down. We're also fighting. Okay, so transparency means show what you do, but also keep things to yourself, like the contents of that box. Like, I don't have to show you everything, because in the end, you will never know what I truly do. You will never know what anyone truly does. All you can do is observe yourself and ask yourself, what do I do? What am I here for? What is my purpose? And what's the world that I would like to live in? And then you start working on that in yourself. And then you see what's happening around you. And then you start setting up boundaries and you say, hey, I have to figure this out for myself. So you can stop being part of the mob and run like a bleating sheep to Black Friday sales. Because you're afraid to miss out on something. So you work with fear and you stop being part of the mob. Yeah. So you use your fear and you start creating. You do crochet, you make art, you do your laundry, you go for hikes, you practice your yoga, whatever that means for you. That's what you have to figure out. Yoga is not just these asanas. Yoga is whatever works for you. You work for it. Life is like that. Sadhana is working, doing like community service. Right now, you can do that through the internet, but if you do so, then you always have to be true. So there are certain things where I never pin myself down on, so I've never yet said that I will never smoke again. All I can say is that until now, I have managed to stop smoking. But I will never claim that I will never smoke again. I realize that you can replace smoking with breathing, and that if you smoke, you probably just wanted to breathe. You just needed a reason to remember. Yes? So if smoking keeps you alive, then slowly replace it with breathing. And then you can also let go of Terence McKenna, which is what I have done. So I have stopped using all these like strong psychedelics, and I have just become psychedelic myself. So I have used the experiences I had previously with psychedelics, and I have learned to use these experiences by realizing how to be here, and how to be here, and how to be here. But I still do drink coffee. That works for me, because everyone else does, and it's considered legal. I do still eat chips, and I may eat dates, and I drink tea. And if you drink my tea, like the way I make tea, you know, it's gonna blast you off to the next universe. And that's just black tea with bitter herbs, cooked in a very specific way for a very specific purpose. And then nobody can say anything, because what I got sick of was people that were telling me that I was cheating. And of course, in a way I was. Now I just got my strength back. I feel like these two sides are trying to merge into each other. But for a man and a woman to do Tantra, both of them have to have their shit figured out. And Tantra is not the dirty thing you imagine. It's more like the, you know, rhythmic, moving motion. And then, yes, I have spent a lot of time listening to Terence McKenna. And I think it was at the point where I listened to True Hallucinations, which is an audiobook he recorded where he describes openly how he raped another girl by giving her psychedelics and then using her and then just letting her sit there, not knowing who she is. And that's the point where I started to say, okay, I think this guy has got to go. So if you have a bad feeling about something, then you got to work with that. And so I think that's all it is. I think there may be people that think my content should be deleted, but I have never done anything. So I have stuck to the regulations and the rules. So I do live life in a peaceful way. And I'm looking for peace. I, to a certain degree, detest this kind of like physical violence towards other people, because what we've learned, or there's something that I've learned in understanding Gandhi's vision, Satyagraha, about violence, that you have to look for yourself if you want to know it. You can also, of course, figure it out by yourself. So I'm also leaving trails. I have written a lot of books that deal with these topics, where I just go into flow and then see what wants to show itself. So if you find typos, keep them to yourself. If it makes you angry, ask yourself why. You know, that's all I can tell you. You know, I have basically said a lot of things in a lot of places, and that's all I can say at this stage. Yes? So these plants, I think, are going to do much better, because now they get also rest. Because it's winter, it's cold, they get rest. I still hold up the energy. Now I'm actually starting to feel warmer again. It's really strange. I mean, if you've never lived such a winter without a radiator, then you've never known how you can change and how positive this change can be. Like, I really start to feel like I'm growing out of myself. I'm growing, I'm becoming different. And that's a really interesting feeling. So this is here like a cave. So clean, wipe your floor, do it yourself, put in the work, get on the ground, make sure it's clean, and then do something else. Do your art, learn to play an instrument, figure out where to go as an individual, and then try to envision yourself at the end of your life the way you're going now, and then try to find an image that works with you. Maybe you see someone like me doing yoga and you think that could be nice, and then you start working towards it. And then you start dealing with your weaknesses, you start doing your yoga, your planks. I have shown these things. I'm gonna make another video about this. What's yoga? But then it's your choice to spend time with these things. So I have also dealt with this fear. Are they gonna delete my content? Because that's just the fear that exists. I have said no, because I learned to deal with my emotions and express them in a certain way. And then I can casually slip in certain opinions that I have without like forcefully pushing them onto you and saying, this is what you must believe. It's just like, yeah, freedom of speech, freedom of choice. You do what you like, you keep on going, you give what you can, but you also see that you stay alive, because if you are being like, you know, you also got to focus on, do I want to be a family man or do I want to be lonely? I still see myself with a woman, so I just keep loving her. And she really seems like a true representation of myself. That's all I can say to that. But yeah, we've also been, in a sense, distant with each other, distant. So there's always a lot of fear. I just say, I'm just gonna keep going, because I feel, what I feel is much more real than what I see. So when I see something, I have to see how I feel about it. And that then to me is this temporary truth. Because everything you know is only temporarily true until you've made a new experience that adds to it. And then, so we grow as individuals and everyone else grows with us. So some of us are like the yogi that can walk the path of some form of a renunciate, and everything he learns, everyone else learns, and that's the morphogenetic field, according to Reusch, where you grow yourself, and then, yes, everyone that's connected to you grows also. Which is why creating content for YouTube is never just about making videos, it's also about being true to yourself and giving what you really have. So you cannot give a smile if you don't have one. I have a lot of smiles, just keep them inside. I can smile all the time, my friend. And then you can be like, oh, what another smile, look at his teeth, they're so dark. Or you can just say, I know how to talk like this, so I can hide myself amongst people that are really greedy. So yeah, now this feels tense. Gotta do your job, gotta do your work. Whatever happens next is off record. What? What? Did he just say that? I thought he was transparent. No, man, you gotta be transparent. And then see where this is gonna lead you. Transparent to yourself. Yeah? Uh-huh. Yo.